On campaign with his father, Alexander had finally been given the chance to prove himself. Things were not always so harmonious between father and son. Alexander's fiercely protective mother, Olympias, was not Philip's only wife. Nor was she a full-blooded Macedonian. At the wedding feast for Philip's 7th wife, the girl's father proposed a toast.
May the gods bless this union, and may it produce a legitimate Macedonian heir.
And what am I then? A bastard?
Philip rose, drew his sword, and advanced. Not on the man who had insulted his son, but against Alexander. Thoroughly drunk, the one-eyed conqueror tripped and fell flat on his face.
Here is the man who would lead you from Europe into Asia, and he can't even cross from one couch to the next!
Yet for every quarrel, there was a reconciliation. And Alexander once again rode at his father's side as Philip bore down on Greece. Philip had long wished to be master of the Greek world, and the wily campaigner had used all manner of diplomatic tricks to extend his influence to the south. For years, an uneasy peace abided. But now, the Greeks prepared to make one last stand against their would-be conqueror. Astride the road to Chaeronea, the Greek forces waited. On their right, the Athenians, their empire long diminished but their pride irrepressible. On their left, the Thebans, among their ranks the elite Sacred Band. From the north, their long pikes swaying above storms of dust, came the Macedonians. And on their flank, with full command of the king's finest cavalry, was Alexander.
Alexander, see those Thebans opposite your flank? I want you to break them. Then me and Parmenion can shatter the rest. Clytus, keep an eye on the boy.
Aye, sir. Right, Alexander. Rule number 1 of pitched engagements. Control the ground, control the battle. You want to be fighting them out there, not fending them off from your camp.
Finally, Clytus, I am given the command I deserve! Oh, glorious day!
Aye, a fine day for all sons of Macedon. Listen up now. I think your father's about to give his speech.
Macedonians! I won't bore you with oratory. Let me just recall what these Greeks say about you. They say your victories were won through luck, not skill. They call you brigands, not soldiers. They say you plunder sanctuaries and debauch yourselves in holy shrines. They call you drunkards. They call you liars. They call you scum. They call me a barbarian. Me! A descendant of Heracles! Well, by the 12 gods, today I'll tear their tongues from their lying mouths and let them choke on their slander.
Hold the line there! The Greeks take the field, we'll come barreling into our camp next. We need to get men to the front lines faster. Put down some outposts on the route.
Alright, this mission is wildly difficult on Legendary. It's actually kind of nuts just how often the enemy attacks you and the size of their forces. They get increasingly more difficult to deal with. So the only way that I've figured to really manage this mission is to build
All
a
of our
fort.
efforts culminate here, Armenian. When the Greeks finally submit, Persia will be next, and you will establish a foothold for us in Asia Minor.
So long as you are king, I know that Macedon will prosper.
Put these guys on defensive stance. And I want to fight in choke points wherever possible. Focus on stone. And we do need to reinforce this area as well. I'm going to be aiming for about 30 people on food. Realistically, that's how much food we need for our empire.
Pay attention, boy. They're trying to turn the left flank. Sort it out.
I really do want to be...
This battle plan seems needlessly complex. Where is the glorious charge? A king should press the attack, always. Lead his men into the bloody fray.
Dead king leads nobody.
They're trying to push through the center. Philip, are you sure your boy is up to this?
Alright, next up, I need to focus on gold. I also need a bunch of people in the middle to support that.
You know, your father spent some time in Thebes as a youth. Learned half of his tactics there. Some right smart generals they've got. You take the Theban commanders out, and the rest will panic.
I have the strangest sensation, Clytus. Like a gnawing in the pit of my stomach.
That's nervousness, Alexander. We mortals feel it all the time.
We mortals. This is probably the toughest attack to deal with. At this point, our forces have been whittled away, so we really need to fight in this choke point. And this is why we need the fort. The fort adds all the DPS we need to sort of
Try not
survive.
to get yourself killed, boy. Your mother would have my head. And I fear her wrath more than any Greek.
So right about now, we probably want to build, at the very least, a blacksmith and an academy. Probably worth building a marketplace too, so we can trade resources. We really need to be focusing on gold now. Next up, we want to build a new fort. Here's a pretty good spot. Ironically, we're going to need more forts in order to win this mission. It is a, like I say, a brutal mission. And so early on in the campaign as well, which certainly tells me we're in for a hell of a challenge. This campaign on Legendary. At this point, we could probably build a lumber mill a little bit closer.
I have waited so long to show my father that I am worthy, but fortune is fickle. 1,000 things can happen in the chaos of arms.
You've been trained all your life for this. All those tutors Philip hired. All those sword masters. tacticians and riding instructors. There's no one more ready for war than you, lad.
Still a long ways from properly stabilizing, but at this point we kind of strong enough that we can defend the attacks at least. This is the next problem we're going to have to deal with, is this flank over here. As that's going to start taking some pressure very, very soon. We want to try and age up when we can. Problem is we're still not at that point where we've got the robust economy. Oh, that's really annoying. Let's put a marketplace over here then. Nowhere near I've got enough civilians on gold yet. So we do need to start powering up our companion cavalry production. Need our next fort for this area.
Why
Problem
do you
is-
prolong the battle, Father, rather than striking at once? Does that not simply feed the enemy's hopes?
I see those tutors of yours were a waste of money. Think, boy. Our men are professionals, hardened, drilled. The Greeks are amateurs. A longer battle favors us.
Alright, now we're stabilized. We need to age up. So that's what we're going to do next. Blitzes all of our resources, but trust me, it's required. We need better troops than what we've got now to push forward in this mission. Okay, next up, we've got this problem to deal with, and that's the next thing we need to focus our efforts on. So I'm going to grab a couple more villagers, pop them over here. So do the secondary objective. You kind of want about 40 people on gold, and that sounds like a lot, but the amount of troops we are going to be producing in order just to survive is kind of phenomenal. Also want to be grabbing our upgrades. This is probably the one we want. We do want some of the upgrades that we get from the academy at the next age, Imperial Age as well.
If it comes to pass that I am no longer king, that boy will take my throne, and it'll fall to you to see that he fulfills my plans. Don't let him be led astray by wittering soothsayers or simpering poets or those preening friends of his. You advise him. You tell him straight.
I want to grab the next upgrade, which is Elite Companions. At this point, we also want to grab a couple of trebuchets. I know that's not what they're called in this, but I'm going to roll with it. Trying to pronounce that name is not going to happen anytime soon. I want to grab this upgrade. Extra attack for fortifications, including forts.
The lavender grows thick in these perfumed valleys. Like a summer garden. Like maidens by a stream. And we'll stomp it into ruin. As men do.
More people on food. Let's build forts over here.
Oikodomeo.
Tiestin.
Oikodomeo.
We don't want to be careless with our troops. We still want to be fighting under these forts. These elite hoplites, by the way, are brutal to deal with. They really are very, very good against our companion cavalry, which is why we need to upgrade them to elites sooner rather than later. We are just about there on the food count.
Look at these Theban panoplies. Gleaming shields, ashwood spears, crested helmets that could make serving boys look like myrmidons. What do you want done with it all?
They're no Thracian warbands or Illyrian goat snatchers, these Thebans. They're proper soldiers. I lived among them, back when I had 2 eyes. Saw them batter their stuck-up rivals. Men worth killing.
Oikodomeo.
Strip the bodies. The armor of my foes I claim as my prize, as did the kings of Homer.
Right, we need gold and food, naturally.
Oikodomeo.
So want to grab this upgrade when we can. But we might want to buy some food at this point. Not really something I like doing, but at the moment I'm kind of in a situation where I've got excess
Don't
gold
foul us
and
up, Alexander. Me and Parmenion have worked on this plan for days. We've worked on this invasion for years. It doesn't slip now.
Oikodomeo. Oikodomeo.
Prostagmata, metaleo, tiestin. Oikodomeo, ne, koranos, oikodomeo.
Tiestin as menos. Oikodomeo.
just do the upgrades. I'm actually running a bit low on wood. Let's build this a bit closer. Kind of wish you could rally Alex and Cletus. Grab some archery ranges. Well, we don't really have the huge amount of timber to support it, but this would probably be a good time for us to try and finish these guys off.
One commander lies dead. Look how their ranks quiver.
Really is funny how just the forts are literally everything in this mission. Like, I don't know how else you would win. I think this is the only viable strat for this mission on Legendary. That was actually an oversight, not getting that upgrade. I mean, even fully upgraded elite companions struggle to deal with the enemy hoplites.
Prostagmata?
The stone. Okay, let's build one final fort. And these, and then focus on gold. Boo up.
Ne, Koranos. Oikodomeo.
Again, we kind of need to fight with the forts, not out in the open. Literally, as I say that, and these guys decide they're gonna chase the enemy down. Okay, we should be able to deal with yellow now. We've got enough left over after that attack that we should be able to kill their remaining leaders. Incidentally, this is probably the only tactic I could think of that might be a bit of a cheeky. But we kind of have to break into this position in the first place. So whilst it is a viable option as a potential cheeky, I'm not entirely sure how you'd break in the early game to pull it off, and you need to get to Imperial Age anyway. So it's kind of, I don't know, possibly a bit redundant as a cheeky, but it definitely can slow down the enemy attacks for sure.
Down. Well done, lad.
The pitiless spirits of death, those black-winged keres, stalk you, Thebans. Your commanders they drag by the feet down to the dismal halls of Hades. Flee now, before you join them in death.
Only the sacred band remains. The Thebans' finest hoplites, unmatched in skill and strength. The men that laid low the Spartans.
Really do need a big old army to take care of those sacred bands. They are wildly powerful. At least we have resources now. I think we could probably build a couple of archery rangers here.
Τι δεν λέεις?
Alright, let's take care of yellow. I mean, even this might not actually be enough. What we're trying to do here is lure the enemy into smaller bunches or batches of troops. So we'll just run straight in when I'm not paying attention.
Against the finest warriors of Greece I have stood, and I was not found wanting.
You've achieved nothing yet, boy. Save the speeches and trophies for later. There are foes still to slay.
The only other troop composition I can think of that would work are going down this line.
Rip into their flank, Alexander. Like gutting a pig.
I believe takes you down the Imperial Cavalry route, which are really good units. They're actually tankier than Companion Cavalry, but getting there is a hard thing, and obviously you need the forts anyway to defend yourself. So that's why I kind of think Companion Cavalry are kind of it for this mission. You want to be very careful here. It's very easy to overextend and find yourself in a bit of a bad sitch against these guys. Kind of want to pull specific armies away.
Stand tall, men! Imagine the terror those Greeks will feel. They entrusted their flank to the Thebans, but from the dust and tumult we will emerge, thundering forth the very image of death!
Okay, we want to surround, flank. Beautiful. Tough old mission though, this one, and it's not over yet. Like, there's still got so many troops we have to deal with. The irony is, this actually isn't going to be enough. Luckily, we have speed on our side. Definitely not these. Let's try this. It really isn't worth trying to fighting a fight that you're not going to win if you can avoid it. Obviously, sometimes it's just unavoidable, but when we have cavalry, we can literally outposition the enemy anyway, so definitely better to retreat and then come back and fight another day. And you're regrouped and more troops. And that should be all she wrote for this mission. Damn, is it a tough one. As far as I'm concerned, this is the strat to beat it. On Legendary, at least. And even then, it's anything but straightforward. Jesus, so many troops. Of course, everything's going attacking bloody buildings. Oh! Get involved, boys, get involved! Reinforcements have arrived. Oh. You literally don't have the strategic point, apparently. Interesting.
You chose this, Greeks. I didn't ask for your cities, or your treasures, or your love. I asked only that you recognize the law of power and submit.
Ay, 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 ay. What a mission. This is probably one of the most ridiculous missions I've ever played on any kind of strategy game, in fact. Certainly Age of Empires 2 so far. And that includes some of the crazy missions from, like, Battle for Greece as well. This is definitely up there as one of the more challenging missions in RTS. I'm including Mythology Retold in that as well, because that is a crazy mission. The amount of pressure the enemy puts on you, and the fact that you have to defend 3 different locations pretty much at once from like minute 10 on 2x speed, granted, but still, it's quite the mission, guys. Anywho, I hope you enjoyed this video and at least get an idea now of potentially how to tackle this mission in your own runs, assuming that is why you've come to the channel to find out how to tackle this particular mission, because it is brutal on Legendary. Anywho, folks, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. If this is the kind of content you enjoy, then please do consider subscribing to the channel. It does help support the channel, be greatly appreciated. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. And as always, I shall see you in the next video.